Crusher back in another video. So today I got the Peerless A20 for Craftsman Crusher 2.0. It's all good. I got my bushings in there and they're perfect. There's no play. I actually had to add a couple washers here. This one is an 1/8 of an inch, and this one is the size. This is what originally bolts on to the side of the bowl gear. When you take your axle shafts out, there's going to be a washer in here. If you take that out and bore it out to 1 inch to fit on the go-kart shaft, it'll fit in there perfectly. And this one is just a regular one. I found this is an 1/8 of an inch. Like I said, bored out to 1 inch. And as you can see, this down here, there is completely no play. It is perfect. I got my ROM's gears in there. Things lined up perfectly. It's seated in. The only thing left to do is put this back in. And I also got this exhaust. This came out of a Craftsman 2, which I'll show you in a second. I'm going to put this, since it's for a twin, I'm going to throw this on the V-twin I'm getting for Craftsman Crusher 2.0. But the other day, let me show you here. So the other day on Facebook Marketplace, found this Craftsman 2 for free. It was a very, very good deal. Lighting here is going to be terrible, but yeah, it's a Craftsman 14 horsepower twin Oppie, I think is what it is. But this thing is stuffed to the brim with a rat's nest. As you can see there, it's badly beaten. Everything is just kind of screwed up on this thing. I got it because typically these things come with they come stock with 820s, but the guy took the 820 out. He modified the back end because if you look in there, the transmission mounts are inside the frame instead of on the outside. So he did that to cram a spicer in there instead of an 820. So I obviously don't want that. And if you're wondering why not save it, let's see here. The dash, if you look at the dash here, let me fix the light. You look at the dash here, that's completely screwed. And the mounts that it bolts to are snapped off on each side. The seat, completely messed up and dropping rust out everywhere. Transmission might be savable considering it actually shifts here. If I show you here, if I can set this light down, it actually shifts to reverse in 5th gear, and it does roll. But the steering, if you take a look at the steering and you try to move it, that's completely frozen up. These are the front tires off Craftsman Crusher, original Craftsman Crusher 2.0, because had none. And the frame on the front, you can see that's completely dented in. It's all pulled up, and this thing is just a lost cause. I really only want it for the transmission, and if you look at the hood, this thing is just a lost cause. So the only thing I got from it was the exhaust, and that's all I'm gonna do. As you can see, Craftsman Crusher is right over here, just sitting. Sadly, no front tires, no rear tires, transmission, or motor. Hopefully that'll be changing soon. Very soon, considering I got transmission already. The only thing left to do is to throw it back together and the top plates have on, which I just kicked them off for. I will have to be... So what you have to do here is, as you can see with the go-kart axle, let me show you on this side. The keyway goes through the axle bearing, and what this actually, since it's a cutout hole here, that is a great place for water it allows water to get in and oil to escape. So what you're gonna have to do is go to AutoZone, Tractor Supply, MB Tractor, anything like that, and get I think it's the black colored silicone. It's really, really, really thick, oil resistant. You're gonna have to fill this gap on each side of these axle bearings to make sure that water can't get in and oil can't get out, and then you should be set. Now, I cannot wait to get this thing, to test this thing, especially with the ROM's Reworks gear set, and especially with the weldless locker, because even though, as you saw with the welded locker that was in the MST, there's always a chance of that breaking, and yeah, you could get another chance, another set of spider gears and axle shaft gears, but that's not if the chunks of metal didn't screw anything else up. So it's a little risky when you're doing welded lockers. I definitely prefer weldless better. There's less of a chance of, if you're not a good welder, you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about is making sure everything's aligned perfectly and goes together right, which, as you can see, so far, I can shake the whole tranny, and it's good. and all the bolts are there. I will say, one thing you're definitely gonna have to be careful with is making sure these axle bearings are perfectly in there. If they're somewhat off to the side and they don't fully go in, nothing will line up properly, and you'll have to do it again. But if you make sure they're in there, you can grab it and you're good. Make sure it's seated in there. One thing I'll recommend is if you take a hammer, do a couple slight taps on all these needle bearing cases on the outside. Make sure it's all seated in, especially the axle bearings. These two with the bushings, you do that and make sure they're really seated in good. But obviously you don't want to smash on it, because then that'll just screw the aluminum up on the casing, and or the possibly the seal itself in these, or your axle shaft, or the metal on the inside of these gears. So you just do a light tap, make sure it's good, and when you're make sure everything's all good, I would double, triple, quadruple check whatever you got to do to make sure everything is aligned perfectly and ready to be put back together. And then once you're all ready, lay some silicone around there, put the top cover on, and you should be good to go. And yeah, so I will say thank you all for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button and hit that post notification bell, because by the time you see me, Craftsman Crusher 2.0 will be back on 4 wheels. See you guys later.